Thank you for checking out this little teaser of the history of the papacy and church. Here's a little taste of what's coming up soon on the History of the Papacy podcast. Now, if you like what you hear, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. If you want to support the podcast even more, consider becoming a Patreon on patreon.com/history of the papacy. There are many levels and benefits for you, and you help keep the history of the papacy going. You can learn more about all of this at historyofthepapacypodcast.com. With that, here's another piece of the mosaic of the popes of Rome and Christian church, and I will definitely be talking to you more soon. I mean, all in all, it was a pretty good deal for Pius, all things considered, but it was still a hard no for Pius. The Kingdom of Italy, the whole idea was to not antagonize the French any more than they had to. Here are the problems, though. The Papal States, even with just the city of Rome under the Pope's control, was smack dab in the middle of the new Kingdom of Italy. The Kingdom of Italy wanted Rome as the capital, and it didn't want an alternative power in the peninsula, even an extremely weakened one like the Pope. Some liberal Catholics called for a secular Italian state with the Pope as a titular head. That's a complete daydream. Nobody was going to go for that. First and foremost, you can only have one king, and Victor Emmanuel wanted to be that guy. He was greedy for that power, and I mean, in a lot of ways, can you blame him? He was the motive force behind everything with Italian unification. People like Garibaldi were extremely anti-clerical at best, and in a more extreme case, you could say even anti-religion. They had no room for the papacy in any capacity, and honestly, the Pope had no interest either. Pius completely dug in his heels. English Cardinal Henry Edward Manning described that as the beauty of inflexibility. This whole thing put a huge strain on the church, especially outside of Italy. More liberal-leaning clerics like Cardinal Newman did not like this stance from Pius, where others like Manning were loving it. And it put a big strain between Manning and Newman's relationship. Inflexibility was a winning issue for Pius, and really, in the long run, you could say it was a great choice. When Pius was liberal and lenient, the liberals attacked the papacy's secular power.